What's going on, guys? It's your boy Hammer with another supplement review, and today I got something extremely unique. One of the strangest pre-workouts I've used, but not necessarily in a bad way, not necessarily in a good way. Unique. It's definitely its own thing. There's nothing I've ever used quite like it. So without further ado, I gotta lift, you gotta lift. Let's get down to business. What am I talking about? What can I possibly be alluding to? It is the one and only, the infamous Smash AMF by KJ Labs. Now, if you are deep in the pre-workout scene, if you are in the subculture, if you know all about the illicit hitters, the underground world, you are very familiar with this thing. When you hear bathtub formula, you know, something illicit, something possibly off-label, this might be the first pre-workout that comes to your mind. If you're new, or if you're not so into the scene, you might have never heard about Smash AMF. So what's Smash AMF all about? Well, it's about a couple things. Now, I could turn this bad boy around, I could show you this label, or I could read it off to you, and honestly, it's not going to make a lot of sense. This is one of those goofy labels where you're looking at it. If I saw this in a store and I had heard nothing about it, if I didn't know any better, I would look at this label, I'd put it right back down, I'd say, ain't no way your boy Hammer spending his hard-earned cash on that supplement. But that being said, sometimes a supplement outperforms its label. Sometimes the ingredients on the label come together in a synergistic way that produces a result you didn't expect. And sometimes maybe something found its way into this container that didn't find its way onto this label. I'm not saying that's for sure. That's been speculated. Who knows? All I know is this pre-workout has an effect unlike anything else on the market. So let's get down to the beginning. You drink the drink, you take it down, and let's just say it is not pleasant. The flavor is not why you're drinking this one. Luckily, this is a 10-gram scoop. 10 grams of powder, not that much. You shoot it down, you chase it down. Nothing that's so awful that you can't get it down, but it's definitely not like you're sipping a goddamn fruit punch, you know, beverage on the beach. You know, it's not a Capri Sun, that's for dang sure. Flavor ain't the best. What happens when you take the drink? Well, a little bit of nothing for a little while. Then it starts within 15 minutes. I'd say something starts brewing. You start feeling a little bit of warmth going up through your head, a little bit of chills through the body, and I'd say within 45 minutes probably you're in peak smash zone. What does that mean? This thing gives you an insane focus, like you put you in this headspace that you've never been in before. A super locked on, super illicit feeling focus. This ain't you took some alpha GPC and some tyrosine. This is a different level. This is a hyper focus that is unlike anything else you have experienced from a freaking pre-workout. It heats up the body. There is some excessive sweating, almost some cold sweating, something akin to if you took a Yohimbine, an Alpha Yo with some GBB, but it's not that. It's different. It's its own beast. It's its own animal. The energy gets up super high, peaks very high, and gets a little scary. And it tapers down, smooths off, and it leaves that focus for hours. I'll tell you this. It's not a hard crash. It leaves you with that, the energy tapers off, but that super focused headspace, you stay in that for hours. It is borders on an all-day experience after Smash. Very unique. This is a useful tool to have in our arsenal. That being said, this is one you have to respect. If you are one of these people who uses these pre-workouts and does not own a kitchen scale to measure the grammage of your pre-workout, I would say do not even buy this one. Buy this and buy your kitchen scale, because I want you to measure this one out exactly. If you're going by the scoop and you're just eyeballing it, let me tell you something. The scoop on this is 10 grams. The first time I took this, it was 10 grams. It was very intense, but it wasn't anything where I was like, oh my God, that was a bad experience. Very intense, very unique. And I said, you know what? I like that. That's going to be a tool I utilize. A couple weeks later, went to run the hitter again. Measuring on my scale, it was a little clumped up, so I have these like balls of powder, and I'm throwing it in, the powder, and then next thing, you scoop it or drop in the scooper, and it goes up to 12. It says 13 for a second, then drops back to 12. So what that tells me is I was probably about 12.5 grams. And now, here's two trains of thought when you hit 12.5 grams. First train of thought, that's barely over. It's not going to be a big difference. Or that's a slightly more increase, so I'm going to get slightly more of the effect. Let me tell you, when you're dealing with an animal like this, an interesting beast, a unique unicorn of the pre-workout world, we don't know exactly what's giving that effect. It's not like you went from 300 milligrams to 325 milligrams of caffeine. That would be some energy to a little bit more energy. If you went from 8 grams of citrulline to 9 grams of citrulline, a little bit of pump, a little bit more pump. But with this, that little difference almost ruined my workout. I literally was texting the boys. I texted my girlfriend. I said, I'm on the verge of having a panic attack right now. The peak of it was so out of control that it went from feeling, super focused and awesome to feeling almost like I couldn't handle my headspace. That lasted, I talked about the peak of this and then coming the peak of the energy and then it smoothed out. On the good experience, peak of the energy was, a little bit excessive energy, a little bit more like taking my time between sets, and then it cooled down. It was the same thing this time, but that peak was something I did not like. I had to take probably a good 20 minutes before my workout went back into a productive state. Luckily it did, and I finished that productive state. And then that focus I talked about, keeping on for the rest of the day, was there. The rest of the day was great. The rest of the day was just fine. I didn't have some crazy crash. I didn't get sick to my stomach. None of these things. But that peak energy, that peak experience was over the top. And you're talking to your boy Hammer, who's a stem junkie. I down 500 caffeines and I could still take a nap. I take all these hitters. I've played mad scientist. I've scooped this with that, half of this with 3/4 of that, throw a little bit of this pill, that pill, the other pill. I've done it all. And not many pre-workout experiences have slapped me silly and put me in check like overdosing on Smash did. So this is an awesome pre-workout. Utilize it correctly. Respect the Smash. A lot of people prefer Smash underdosed. It says 10 grams on label. I say start with 6. See what happens. Maybe try 8. If you think going up 1 gram on the scale isn't going to make a difference, it's going to make a difference. This is a cautionary tale to respect the scoop size, to get yourself a kitchen scale. If you're going to use something as intense as this, do I like this pre-workout? Yes, I love this pre-workout. I have Smash, and guess what? I got 2 tubs of it. I have OxyMilk by KJ Labs as well. This is a very useful tool. This is not one you want to use multiple days a week, multiple times back to back. I personally wouldn't want to use this twice in a week. That's me. This is such a unique, strong, illicit type effect that I utilize this, very sparingly. I would say for my personal use, this is going to show up once every 2 weeks, maybe even less frequently. Am I saying that's how you have to do it? No. I personally would never recommend running this like back to back days. That's me. It's a very unique experience. It's probably not even an experience you want every single workout. It's very intense. You know what I'm saying? It might be redlining the system in one way or another. So keep it special. Save it for a special day. I like to pair this with a pump formula for sure. Tends to smoothen out the experience a little bit. And also, there's not a lot of pumps in here. It's like I said, it's a 10-gram scoop. Pair a pump formula with it and strap in. You're in for a wild ride with Smash. Is it a ride you want to take? Heed caution. Listen to this review. Get yourself a scale. Weigh it out. Respect the scoop. Respect the Smash. That's all I got for you. Your boy Hammer telling it to you straight. I really enjoy this pre-workout. It's intense though. And that's a warning from a stim junkie like YBH. So thanks for watching. That's all I got for you today. If you want this hitter, check out nutricartel.com. Use code HAMMER, please. Click all the buttons. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Alex Hammerstone. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you next time for the next supplement review.